they will come across. Okay, so let's be emotional. So I guess I just mentioned it, but I don't have a conviction that that's all to it. So we're going to continue from emotional intelligence and self-mastery because you require a lot of self-mastery for this, for you to function. There's an echo, so let me try and use my earpiece. So the rest will meet up with, I mean, we were 12 yesterday, we're 6 today, or we're 13 or 15 yesterday, we're 6. The other people will catch up. Like you would say, so if I mean, usually I would have loved you to mention basic emotions, sadness, anxiety, fear, despair, and all of that. But I need to move because we started a bit early, so I can cover some ground. So right on the screen, you will see the pictures of different leaders from Obama to Nelson Mandela. Excuse me. The world is run by tired people. So all this one, I'm tired. Welcome to the club. To Nelson Mandela, to Mary Slessor, to different leaders. But you realize that what makes a leader are not just their intellectual property or their intellectual ability. It's beyond that. Can we all mute our mic? Can we all mute our mics? Thank you. So part of self-mastery is that you need to have an understanding of some of the things, or all the things that put on the screen: assertiveness, resilience, mindfulness, knowledge, courage, tenacity, awareness, confidence, communication, emotional intelligence, empathy, desire, strategic thinking, competence, vision, and authenticity. All right. So now this is how the brain works. So you'll find on your screen the spinal cord. Information enters from there to the Olympic system where you feel it, to your thinking where you think about it rationally. Okay, so sorry, I barely had 2 hours of sleep. So from your spinal cord, that's why a lot of times people just respond to things without thinking. The first place that information gets to is the spinal cord, the lower part of your brain. Okay, so from there it goes to where you feel it, and that's why you can't decide to run your life by feelings. Okay, to where you think about it. So before you act, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be able to think, and that's what we call the pause factory. The ability to pause, the ability not to be impulsive, the ability to think about the consequences of your action before you do them. So one of my dear friends shared the story of how he had to rush out of his house to go see a client. Then he was stopped at the Lekki gate by security operatives. Then the security operative said to him that he should turn up his inner light, and he made a story out of that. And I'm going to use that story because the reality is, in life, a lot of us don't put on the inner lights to see internally where our strengths are, where our weaknesses are, what are the opportunities we have, what are the threats militating against our destiny. Okay, so this is the anatomy of the brain. This is how we process information. So all of you that says, I'm going to give everybody a piece of your mind, information does not go beyond here. You are just in the feeling state. Because it's not everyone that deserves a piece of your mind. It's not everyone so you need to know who deserves a piece of your mind. You need to know who does not deserve a piece of your mind. You need to know who to be quiet, even when they're requesting a piece of your mind, and all of that. Let's go to the next slide. So I use the term EQ. I interchange EQ and emotional intelligence. So we're going to stay with EQ. Okay, EQ is your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and in others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and your relationships. Amazing, isn't it? So, when if you are going to be emotionally intelligent, and you say emotional intelligence is required to be an assertive listener, you can't be frivolous with your words. You can't be someone who breaks off the handle. So it's your ability to recognize your own emotions, to name your emotions, say, I am angry. The question now is, why are you angry? Okay, to understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and your relationships. Okay, so having said that, how then do I go about all of this? The man who started the topic, emotional intelligence, his name is called Daniel Coleman. He said, we're being judged by a new standard statistic, not just how smart we are, or by our training and expertise, but how well we handle ourselves and how well we handle other each other. So I mentioned that yesterday, that you can have intellect, you can be extremely intelligent. If you don't have emotional intelligence, you will plateau at some point and you realize that you can't get to the peak of your career. Sam Walton and EQ. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, formed a guide for managing success successfully. He did this before EQ had entered into lexicon, in other words, into the top topic to be taught, that's been spoke about. Having read through that, this was an expression of an emotionally intelligent leader. Most of you should know Walmart, one of the most phenomenal um, supermarkets in the world. Even through the pandemic, they were employing, they were making money because they had positioned themselves for what they're doing. May and Salovey in 1990 introduced the term, describes the person's ability to understand their own emotions, the emotions of others, and to act appropriately based on this understanding. It was, however, popularized by Daniel Coleman in his book Emotional Intelligence in 1995. It's viewed as a means of developing and enhancing individual management and leadership capacities or capabilities through analyzing of behavior, management styles, attitudes, and interpersonal skills. Okay, so we have two minds. We have the conscious mind, we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind always takes or does a catch up with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where you process information. Your subconscious mind is what is not visible. I was jokingly saying to someone, did a session for a lady in the US, the middle of the night today, and I was saying to her, you see, in relationship, I'm going to use relationship and this illustration to drive home the point. In relationships, you need to use the visible to keep your spouse or to attract your spouse, the nails, the shape, the biceps, but you will use the invisible, your intellectual capacity to keep the relationship. So it's one thing to focus on what is conscious, is another thing to be focused on what is subconscious. But the ultimate of it all is for you to have an understanding of your conscious and your subconscious mind as you relate with people. So, what's the job of your subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind stores every information. That's why all of you that you are seated here, all of you are looking at watching this webinar, you have been programmed, you have been scripted, you have inherited opinions, you have inherited behaviors, you have inherited sitting positions, you have inherited cooking ability. An average child was not raised, an average child was erased. Let me say that again. Or let me rephrase it. Almost every child was not raised, they were erased. Let me tell you why. You were less original 1 minute after you were born. Because immediately you were born, you started encountering different relationships. And as you were encountering those relationships, you were just being scripted. Your uncles came to live with you, you watched a movie. So a lot of children are being erased, not being raised. When I say erased, doesn't mean they're being deleted. It means that they started losing their originality and their authenticity. Okay? So that's why I say to people that everyone is running a script. Bumi, you are running a script. Aisha, you are running a script. Peace, you are running a script. Temi, you are running a script. And the challenge with that script is that it is locked up in your subconscious mind. Okay, the way you sit today, the way you talk. Someone's mic is still not muted. Please, Oluwaduro, please can you help mute your mic? Thank you. The way you talk, your mannerisms, everything that you're doing today is inherited. And I said yesterday, I said we're all a product of our values and beliefs. Okay, you are happy when your values are validated. You are happy. You are sad when your values are violated. So, for example, if your value is respect, you realize that when people respect you, you are happy. When people disrespect you, you are not happy. So every action. Some of you came late because late coming is just part of what you have inherited. If you look around you, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic, if you look around you very well, you realize that you inherited late coming from someone. Let me tell you my own. I'm elaborate for you today, as always. So if you tell my dad a wedding is 12, my dad would go and take his bath at 12. He was ever late. If you tell my mommy they were going for a wedding by 12, she will be dressed by 10:30. She will get there at 11. Now, I picked that from my mom. I mean, ask anyone that I've done stuff for, except there's something that comes up. I don't go late for meetings. Why? Because I inherited that value that going late for meetings is bad. So I learned to lean on help. I mean, getting to meetings early. So I'm saying in essence, if you look into your life, your behavior, your values, your beliefs are inherited. The same thing for the people that you're going to be listening to. A lot of people are not even conscious of what they're doing. There are too many people who just know barely their name, and they're not even aware the importance of knowing what their name or what their personality type has to do with what we're talking about. So the conscious mind is our physical mind, okay? Uh, the subconscious mind is the mind of your spirit, your soul, your ear, higher, and your deeper intelligence. So the subconscious mind controls the conscious mind. Okay, so your subconscious mind is where you think and you process information, then you push it to your conscious mind. Okay. Having said that, it's also very, very important for us to understand these dynamics as we begin to scale up our emotional intelligence. I mean, look at this very powerful quote. It says that 90% of everything you do is controlled by your subconscious mind. This is the diagram. So someone says, "Oh, I like to fight." You had processed fighting in your subconscious mind before you put it out there. Okay. Oh, let me look for something that is very. I work in strive. I don't forgive people. You process it in your subconscious mind. Unforgiveness is a value. So because it's a value, you will behave in alignment with whatever you think is a value system for you. So under your subconscious mind is where we have your instinct, your desire, your like and your dislike. Have you had people say things like, "I don't like love fries"? Have you had people say things like, "I can't take, a wedu and eba"? It has to be wedu and amala. It is all programming. Have you heard people say things like, "How can you eat spaghetti and rice?" It's programming. Some people were raised with spaghetti and rice. Okay. So that's why I always say to people when they're talking, even when you are doing your facilitation in life generally, always know that your perception is not the only perception. Somebody needs to get that. So it will help you to manage relationships. So when people say, that's the way they do it, I'm always quick to ask, from whose perspective? You know, I was working with a couple, and the woman's always saying, "You don't eat before a man should not eat before his wife comes. It's wrong. It is lack of respect." I told her, I said, from whose perspective? Another couple I worked with, they said, husband and wife, to bond, they must eat from the same plate. If they don't eat from the same plate, from whose perspective? A lot of us have formed opinions that we inherited without questioning it. I like to share the story of a woman, old woman, who had children, and when she was growing up, she had girls. She raised different girls, and when the girls got married, so when she was growing up, she used to cut the tail of a fish, then fry the rest of the fish. Then the children grew up, and they used to cut the tail of their own fish. So one of the husband of the children now one day said, "Sweetheart, why do you cut the tail of your fish?" He said that because my mom used to cut the tail of the fish. So I didn't bother to find out why she cut the tail of the fish. So it was Salah holiday, so they drove home, and when they got home, the curious husband asked the mother-in-law and said, "Why do you cut the tail of your fish?" She said, "Oh, your when we were growing up, we didn't have so much money. We had a small frying pan, so I have to cut the tail of the fish so that the fish can sit in the oil in the frying pan. That was why we cut it." The man put his hand on it and said, "Yay, I am you." They had been married for 5 years. For 5 years, they've been cutting the tail of the fish and trashing it because they never questioned why. That's the way a lot of all of us are. We do things we don't question. So when people argue, when two people are arguing, let me tell you what is happening. It is two values that are arguing. My value, your value. We call it value clash in psychology. Okay, so all of this one is wrong. What you are doing is wrong. What is wrong and right? They are very relative to how we were raised. Okay, so I needed you to understand that it will help you to be more accommodating. It will help you to be less argumentative. It will help you to be more focused. It will help you to manage expectation regularly. So stop seeing your opinion as the only opinion. When you are in a listen, start listening facilitation. Don't you see this job that you are going to go into? It's not child's play. It's not that somebody will now begin to share a story and say, in a particular year, I'm attempted to kill two of my sisters. They say, I hear me. No, that's why I needed to take you through emotional intelligence. You must have self-control. When people share grievous things with me, I mean things that are unheard of, a lot that I cannot even share here. I just keep a straight face. Like, I mean, I work with people who are gays, who are lesbians, have people who have, committed different, immoral issues, you know. And but one of them said to me one day, "Say, are you human?" Everybody I share this story with, they're always like, my life. I said, well, it's part of our training. You must develop some shock absorber. It's not that somebody will say, I'm a witch, I used to fly, or something very absurd. Then your body language will show it. No, that's why I'm taking you on this course. If you're going to be a listener, your the state of your mind must be filtered. It must not show in your expression. No. Are you trying to encourage hypocrisy? No, I'm just encouraging maturity. Maturity is the ability to be hit by emotional bullets and not express it in your mind. In fact, when I delivered myself from all of this many years ago, 2012 precisely, um, I used to, when I don't have money, I'm always very moody. 1 year after I started all of this course, I just said to myself, why should money determine my emotional state? You know what I do now? In fact, my staff are always telling me that this one that you're very happy. I hope it's not that you don't have money. Because I've learned to behave in a way contrary to what my emotion is dictating to me. You are not an emotion, you are a person, you are a spirit. So stop all of this excuse of Tokwe got me angry, Larry got me angry. Nobody has the capacity to get anybody angry. You chose anger as an option to reactions from emotional bullets from people, places, and events. Okay, so decisions are taken in your subconscious mind. Our mind always does catch up. Today's business, public environment, and people issues are far too complex to return to a top-down, power-based style leadership. It's no longer enough to lead by virtue or power alone. It's necessary for you to understand that your intellect alone will not allow you. So you need to learn control. You need to learn shock absorber. You need to learn not to be moved by every wind of doctrine. Okay, let me go past this. There's no longer enough to lead by virtue or power. When I say lead, I'm not saying lead an organization. I'm saying even lead yourself. This is about self. When you're in the support group facilitation, you are leading a team of people who are emotionally distressed or distorted or disordered. So you are leading. So it's no longer enough to lead by virtue of power. It's no longer enough to lead by virtue of IQ alone. Okay, so EQ does not mean being nice. Some of the misconceptions about EQ, and I need to mention them to us. Okay, EQ does not mean being nice. Strategic moment may demand not being nice, but being honest. EQ does not mean giving free range of feelings, touching freely, or letting it all. Sorry, I need to put my phone on silent. So many calls coming. Okay. EQ does not mean free feeling of rain feelings, touchy feeling. Women are number two. Women are not smarter than men when it comes to EQ. Nor all men superior to men. Our EQ is not fixed genetically, or nor does it develop only in childhood. Unlike IQ that is learned, continuous to develop. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, a quick understanding, just still trying to get us to now. EQ class takes a whole day. If I'm going to do a thorough class, I do it between 8 p.m. and 5 p.m. with a 1 hour break. Okay, but so I'm just trying to do a compressed version to scale up your self awareness. Okay, we all possess EQ, IQ, our personality. They determine how we behave. Our EQ and our IQ determine how we behave, but you can't determine individual EQ based on their IQ and vice versa. The more, okay, we have more ability to change our IQ, our EQ, as opposed to our IQ and our personality. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that there's a certain level of IQ. If you have an intelligent father, the tendency for you to have some level of intelligence, but IQ can never be, EQ cannot be inherited. Okay, there are skills and competencies that needs to be developed and to be enhanced. It doesn't come by impartation. It doesn't come by laying on of hands. It doesn't come by, yes, you can find some by association, but the root of it is knowledge, being able to understand what it's about and how to maneuver it. Some of the applications of EQ are recruiting high performance, risk management. Okay, don't let me bore you with this. With the help of emotional intelligence, consulting firm, an organizational climate assessment was conducted to pinpoint the issue from the employee's perspective. The study found three major issues, which are collaboration, trust, and employee demotivation. Over the next 10 months, the consultant worked with the management team, providing them 18 hours of emotional intelligence training. Front desk team participated in similar training, and 4 groups of lifestyle received 2 hours of training. While several leaders received one-on-one coaching varying in length from 2 to 12 hours. As a result of the training, check what happened to them after they did emotional intelligence training. The organizational climate showed significant signs of improvement. Customer service ratings rose by 8%. Employee turnover dropped nearly by 20%. Market share rose by 23%. In addition, the property was Sheraton top rated vacation property in October and December 2003. In other words, it's saying that there is power in knowledge. There's power in knowing yourself. There's power in knowing your boundaries, knowing what you can do and what you can't do. Okay, so you can achieve more success with less stress. So there are 4 quadrants for the emotional intelligence plan. So some of you had maybe come across it before. There's the self-awareness. There is the order, well, social awareness. There is the action-oriented lifestyle, which is self-regulation. There is the relationship-driven lifestyle, which is social competence. So from self-awareness to social awareness to self-regulation to social competence, you need to sit down and ask yourself, how aware am I? How much of social awareness do I have? How much of social competence do I have? Etc. So this is a checklist for everyone to follow. So access your emotions and the impacts on your emotional awareness. Are you aware of your emotions? Can you recognize how your feelings impact personal performance? Do you understand your personal values and goals? Develop an accurate self-profile, self-audit. Are you aware of strengths and weaknesses, areas of development? Would you reflect and learn from experience? Are you open to feedback, new perspective, continuous learning? You have a sense of present case, but aware of the context and implication and able to make decisions and implement them. Okay, emotional self-awareness is the ability to recognize your own emotions, their effects. Please listen to me. To identify how to react to cues in your environment and to understand how your emotions affect your overall performance at work, with your relationship, with a sad listening. Individuals in which this competence is highly developed, they will have the following. They are aware of their feelings. So my question to you is that, are you aware of your feelings? They will understand the connection between their own feelings and what they think, do, and say. They will know why certain feelings occur in themselves. They will recognize their feelings, how their feelings affect their performance, understand the implication of their actions, and are aware of how they are guided by their values and their goals. Okay? So these are research, some facts on different organizations. Every sustained moment of emotional stress shifts the human brain from a deep thinking mode that is responsible for decision making and specific process to superficial thinking mode that is simplistic, unoriginal, routine, and error prone. Can you see? Did you see that? Very powerful. Every sustained moment of emotional intelligence. Okay. So another one says each moment of your sustained fear or worry or rage releases about 30 stress hormones and about 14,000 stress neurotransmitters into your body. Can you see that? You see, yesterday when I was talking about harming yourself with data, this is data. So if you are the type who worry a lot and you live in fear, Professor H. Dreyer, this is out of research, said you have 30 stress hormones and about 14,000 stress-related neurotransmitters into your system that weigh your mind and your body. That's why you see some people, they're very young, but yet they look very old. Okay? University of London study says that an unmanaged reaction to stress is 6 times a stronger risk factor for heart disease and cancer than chronic smoking. I think we saw that yesterday. WHO also said that 80 to 90% of primary care visits to doctors are due to preventable illnesses, which account for about 90% of healthcare costs. I think we saw that also yesterday. So let's just move forward. Okay, we did this yesterday. Those of you that were not here. Okay, so we don't need to do the stressometer again. Okay, so the second one is accurate self-audit. Is the process of identifying your inner resources, your abilities, your strengths, your acknowledging and accepting your limits. This is based on the desire to receive feedback, new perspective about yourself, and is motivated by the desire for continuous learning and self-development. Individuals in which these competencies is highly developed, number one, have a high sense of humor about themselves, are knowledgeable of their own strengths and weaknesses, have the ability to be reflective to learn from experience, are receptive to candid feedback, new perspectives, continuous learning, and self-development. Next slide. So there are 4 major temperaments. There are the sanguines, the cholerics, the melancholies, and the phlegmatic. So I'm sure you know something about temperament. I believe so. So permit me to just gloss over this. Okay, the sanguines are the optimistic, friendly, articulate, talkative, compassionate, entertaining, outgoing, persuasive, enthusiastic, future conscious with time, work more with possible results, collaborate well in a team, are more mainly motivated by recognition and approval. So they however mostly have struggles with restlessness, unstable emotions, being flirty, constantly changing plans, lustful or boastful, being prejudging, easy jumps to conclusion, rudeness, disorderliness, being weak and willed and talkative. So what are the challenges of a sanguine when they're in a support group? Or number one, because of their talkative, they need to regulate what they say. It's not about you. You are not there to come and share everything you know about mental health. You are there to facilitate, to determine the perspective or the journey you want the class to follow. So the challenges of sanguines are the things you have seen on the screen. They are very restless, unstable emotions. They have tendencies to be lustful or boastful. There's a lot of disorderliness. So that's for a sanguine. A choleric. So the first two are extroverts, sanguines and cholerics are extroverts, phlegmatics and melancholies are the introverts. Okay, so cholerics are bold and determined, practical, intelligent, visionary, quick decision takers, now conscious with time, work more with present fact or evidence. They are proactive, optimistic, generally motivated by challenge and results. They, however, often have struggle with insensitivity. They often are very domineering. They often are impatient. They often have arguments, carelessness, overwork, self-will, hot temperedness, and being sarcastic. Okay, so that's a choleric. What are the challenges of a choleric? One is a facilitator. He has tendencies to be strict with the people. And you see, an average choleric, except he has another very soft-sided part of his personality type, which is maybe a melancholy. Most times they can be very bossy. They want things to go their way. Okay. Sometimes the intelligence also gets into their head, so it's important. I want everyone to please know which one they have, and the truth be told, um they have tendencies to get things done a lot more, but they are not very good team players. Not good for team playing. But if you need someone to go and drive attendance, you need someone to make things work, delegate things to people, you can always put them in the picture. They will get your job done. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Phlegmatic. So what do I know about phlegmatic? Okay. Just want to move this. Okay. Phlegmatics are relaxed, friendly, peace-loving, diplomatic team players, good listeners. Sorry. Good listeners, dependable, loyal, humorous, value relationships, value clean environment, now conscious in time, work more with present evidence. However, the struggle with introverted nature can be shy. So if you are a support group facilitator and you are a phlegmatic, you have tendencies to be shy. So you need to overcome stage fright, or public speaking shyness, or what we call it, that's escaped me now. They're often indecisive, they're indifference, over tolerance, over submissive, over enterprising, unenterprising, over submissive, unmotivated spirit, deadlines due to slow nature. Okay, those are phlegmatics. Melancholies are perfectionists, intellectual, inquisitive, analytical, creative, self-disciplined, industrial, sensitive, consistent, fact-based, decision takers, good listeners with respect to tasks, system details, accommodating in disputes, no nonsense, motivated by being right and past conscious in time, use past occurrences of statistics to slowly work out the present. They, however, struggle with self-centeredness, volatile moods. They can have very, very unpleasant mood swings, pessimists. They could be fault finders, being touchy, revengeful, and over carefulness. I'm mentioning all of this so that you know which one you belong. So everyone, according to the man who started the temperament, said everyone has a mixture of two. Oftentimes, some people are claw male, some people are sun flag, some people are flag claw. So you need to know the tool that combines you. Why? Why are we doing all of that? Because if you're not even aware, you can't manage what you don't know. If you don't know that there is no, I mean, during the lockdown, if you don't know that you can't use your ATM and you have very little stew, you won't even manage the stew because you didn't know that you don't have access to cash even when you have it. Okay, so let's talk about self-confidence when we're facilitating. Self-confidence is your own belief in your capability to accomplish a task. Very simple definition. Self-confidence includes acknowledging and affirming that you are the best person for the job that you are doing. It is also about conveying your ideas and opinions in a confident manner and having a positive impact on others. Individuals in which these competencies is highly developed, they will have the following. They believe they're the most capable person for the job. They have the ability to present themselves in an assured, unhesitating manner, the courage to voice views that may be unpopular, to go out of the limb when following their convictions, the ability to be decisive, to make sound decisions despite uncertainties and pressures. Okay? Tips. What are for developing self-awareness? Okay? Emotional self-awareness. You have to pay attention to physical reaction aroused in your body during stressful situations. This is very, very critical. Very, very critical for everyone who will do anything worth a while. Okay, so we also need to do accurate self-assessment. When interacting with people with whom you feel comfortable, ask for their constructive feedback about your actions and behaviors. Let me tell you some of the things. I mean, let me use myself as an example. So many years ago, I asked my dad, "So what killed your dad?" So he said, "Oh, my dad had anger issues, was in a scuffle with someone, then they had a fight and he died." Then I was used to come from school. I went to Ladoga University of Technology. I used to come from Ogbomoso. See my dad was the director for primary health care. He was a medical doctor at the Oyo State Ministry of Health. So I used to go see my dad, and I saw how my dad used to display anger. Ah, I got into university. My friends used to say, "TJ, you have anger issues." I always look like, really? So they are feedback from my actions and behavior. So don't get to a point where people can't talk to you again. People judge you by your imagery, your conduct, your words, and your behavior. Who you are is a function of how people perceive you. You can't say, no, they're just saying their own. No. If five people say you have anger issues, you have it. Sit down and face it. Okay? So make a list of what you believe to be your strength, as well as any areas where development is needed. Then compare your own list and a similar list prepared by someone else. Okay? So self-confidence. Self-confidence talks about adjusting your thinking and behavior so that they closely match those of someone whose models that traits of self-confidence with that model in mind, act decisively instead of self-consciously watching your every move. Find someone you trust who will be willing to help you to objectively analyze your abilities. And this is critical. So when my friends used to say that, I said to myself, what do I want to become in life? I said I wanted to become a great speaker. I mentioned the things I wanted to become. And I realized that I didn't have the qualities. So I asked myself, these values I'm holding on to, this behavior I'm holding on to, will it help me achieve this dream I want to pursue? I said a capital no to myself. This will not allow me achieve these dreams that I said I was going to achieve. So I said to myself, I need to replace this negative, empowering thoughts, beliefs, behavior with a positive one. Because you see, a fruit does not fall far from a tree. If they say you have anger, one day you will express anger that will sabotage helpers of destiny, that will sabotage the things that you want to do in life. So it's important for you to do this exercise to be so that you know what triggers your anger. You know it. So it's not a strange thing. Okay, so it's important for you to know it so that you know how to manage it. You can't manage what you don't know. Social awareness. This is the checklist. The first column talks about understanding the feelings of others. Tune into their situation, not yours. Show sensitivity, placing yourself in their shoes. A lot of people don't understand that a lot of people don't understand that being able to show sensitivity, being able to hear what other people are saying, being able to be intuitive is important in this thing that in fact, it's generally important in life. Because I've seen people say the right thing at the wrong time. I've seen people say the wrong thing at the right time. So you've got to learn to be intuitive. And that's if you're going to be a support group facilitator, you must be very intuitive. You must be able to check the environment and be sure that you are sharing the right jokes at the right time. So you need to understand the need of your this one is not customers, the need of the people in the support group facilitation. All of these terms I will adapt them to what we're doing. So this one talks about remain market and customer centric, develop meaningful and long-standing relationships. In other words, what we're saying in essence is when you get into the support group facilitation, you need to connect. What makes people connect? Communication. Okay. Then also, because we always like to do a checkup on people, so the closer people are to you, the more vulnerable they will be willing to get with you. So the talk about developing others, providing appropriate coaching and mentoring that will make others succeed. So also you need to look at political awareness. That will help you leverage networks. People will come in there. You've got to learn to not misbehave in a way that people can be put off. Okay, let me run out of checklist. Adaptable, innovative. Pause to think before act. This is very important. Pause. That ability to pause is critical to what we're doing as ASAD listeners. Be open to change and proactively, not reactively. Handle it and its accompanying conflict. Conscientiousness, meet commitments, accountable for actions taken, take an organized approach to the work, trustfulness, continually build and enhance trust, own up for mistakes, and look for lessons learned. Sorry. So this is under self-regulation. We talked about self-awareness. This is self-regulation. Okay. The next one is self-regulation continues. Initiative, set challenging goals and take calculated risks. Make decisions in alignment with team values. Work towards the organizational goal or the goals of whatever the meeting is. Maybe an ASAD listening session for people who are in depression. The goal is for them to be well, emotional wellness. Okay, optimism, focus on opportunities to remain goal-driven despite the odds. You don't be distracted by the rhetoric. Something has happened. I've done the first one. Oh, I'm a very good. No, it's a learning curve. You have to keep learning. Handle setback constructively. Nurturing. Nurturing your speaking ability. My first speaking nurturing started. My mom used to bring yam to school. Then I used to use my mom's yam. The yam my mom brings as microphone. Those days, Pastor Paul Adefarasin was one of the phenomenal preachers. So when I saw him do, his thing, I just go there and I began to hold yam. I was nurturing that speaking in me. So some of you need to stand before your siblings and nurture the ability to facilitate. Okay, social and relationship competence. You got to learn to influence, create a win-win, not a win-lose. We spend 40% of time on that's for people. So communication, first open communication, handle different communication styles and challenge. Take the lead when you are in the class. So I've had a conflict. I've had a support facilitation before where two people had conflicting opinions. You've got to handle it proactively. You won't take sides. And always be quick to say, both of you are arguing based on your perspective. Tola is not wrong, neither is Larry right. The reality is that we all argue based on what we know. So what will argument do for us? It won't buy us the next meal. It won't do anything. So I think it would be good for us to just go on why we sort out, whatever it is, differences. Very powerful way to handle. So emotions and personal branding. I've learned that people will forget what you say, but people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. So as we do our support group facilitation, as we interact with people in life, you need to be careful how you make people feel. You need to be careful what you say to people. Your head is not correct. You are foolish. You are one of the most complex human beings on earth. I hate you. People might will not forget what you say, but they might forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So make people feel good around you. Some people, you know, I'm speaking to a set of marriageable single after this. They're between age 30 and 45. And one of the things I want to say to them is that some of them they've used their attitude to chase their potential husband away. Okay? A man's greatest asset is his ego. You can't rubbish his ego and expect that he will be heads over nails for you. You know, that's a discussion for another day. But I'm trying to say that when you facilitate a session, make people feel good about you, compliment people. You know, there might be two people there. One has a good wig on, another one has a wig that looks like Oshuka. You know, wig that looks like Oshuka. I know that somebody's laughing. You know, sometimes when I see this, I'm like, don't you have a stylist? It's not everyone that high heel fits. But you see, you don't have to now laugh to a point where the high heel is not making them fall. You know, at times I go back home and I'm laughing because where I was, by virtue of the fact that I know that if I laugh at this person, it might spoil their day. So I constrain my emotions. So when I get home, I just chuckle, or when I'm driving, I'm like, everybody's wearing high heels, you know. So you need to be conscious of how your behavior, your words make people feel. Okay, I want to do this. So part of what Daniel Kuhlman also encouraged us to do is to ask ourselves what's our strength, um, which of our strengths are important to us, what do you want to develop yourself, what will success in the skill look like, how could you develop the required skill gaps that you have. To develop emotional intelligence, you need to learn by doing people build. You need to learn by doing people build by doing number one, people build their EQ when there is a motivation to learn or change. Number two, when there's consistent practice of the new behavior. Number three, to seek feedback on behavior. So for you to now, as I'm talking, some of you have discovered your weaknesses. How do I now work on those weaknesses? Number one, identify where you are now. Do a scale of 1 to 10, 0 to 10. Call yourself your anger, your emotions, your attitude. Okay? Identify where you want to be. So if you're a 2 over 10 now, where do you want to be by December? Don't say 10 over 10. It will be too ambitious. Say 5 over 10. How will I get there? Okay. Knowledge. You need the required knowledge to close the skill gap. You need to get feedback from people around you. Where do I expect to see when I'm there? What do I expect to see? I expect to see people say things like, now if you have anger issues, we say, hey, Wumi does not even get angry like before. Can you imagine? Hey, Aisha is so patient. Okay, so what do I expect to see when I'm there? Practice the new skill repeatedly until it becomes a habit. That was what I did. I used to have anger issues when I did anger mastery class. Then I realized that I just didn't just remember that diagram of the picture that we saw. Everything information gets to my spinal cord. I just process it. I don't get allow it to go through feeling before it gets to thinking. So now when you offend me or when I'm hurt or my values are violated, I pause. I just pause and I look at how best I can handle this situation. I hope this was also helpful. So let me take questions on this. Don't forget I said emotional intelligence usually takes 8 to 5. That's about 8 hours, 8 solid hours. So I'm trying to compress it. That's why you see that I was a bit fast today. But so I want questions, feedback, questions, feedback. What did you learn? Hmm? What have you learned today? Anybody? Aisha is patient too. Nothing. You're just mean nothing. Oh yeah, now what have you learned? Take away. So we have 5 minutes to do this, then I go to next one. You know, I've told you I will not just gloss over the topics. I want to know what you are learning. Felicia, go ahead and unmute, please.
Okay, good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, everyone. When we were taking the class, I hope everybody can hear me. When we were taking the class, you
Felicia, go ahead.
mentioned. Hello, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the class.
Most welcome.
When you were talking about building self-confidence, I noticed that you said something about um tailoring someone who you want to be like, you understand, or getting traits or building on developing parts of you that you're not satisfied with. In a case where someone has tried developing their, let's say, not so good sides or not so good traits, and it bounced back by not working, wouldn't that bring down the person's self-confidence more?
Can you say that again? I didn't get that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I just wanted to reframe it.
Okay. Okay, to reframe the question. Okay, like working on your self-confidence, working on your good traits alone. If you try working on your good traits or tailoring, um how do I put this now? How do I reframe it? Oh God. English is hard. When you when you try all those, there are some steps you put, about looking for your strengths, working how do you want to be, or looking at where you are, then working on your strengths to make yourself more tailored to be that idea of what a self-confident person is, you understand? So
Yeah.
if you try working on yourself to have that idea of what a or who a self-confident person is, and it doesn't work, like maybe you try, maybe you notice that, okay, let's say for example someone that is always lazy, and that laziness is always disturbing the person. Oh, I'm really lazy and I want to work on my laziness, and the person tries to work on their laziness and it did not work. Maybe after a week or so the results are not coming in. Wouldn't that help to bring the person's self-confidence down more than, like, instead of boosting the self-confidence, wouldn't it bring it down?
Okay, so when you set goals to want to achieve something, you don't achieve it. It shouldn't bring you down. So the first thing is, how was the goal set, or was there a goal set in the first place? If yes, the second question is, how was it set? Because one of the things that makes you unlearn something you have learned or grow out of something you are not comfortable with is to have an accountability partner. To say that this is the goal that is ahead of me. I want you to be my accountability partner so that on the journey, you can help me, ask me questions on this. These are the things I want to do. So if you don't achieve it, it shouldn't mean, maybe I should address it this way. You can't be great in life if you are not willing to fail. Success is failure turned inside out. I have loads of stories of my failure story, and I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, so I think that the bigger picture is the person is more scared of failing than willing to pay the price for being the success. Try something, it didn't work, pick up yourself again and give another attempt to it. That's why an accountability partner who will also be a cheerleader is necessary on your journey to building whatever it is. And you see, I realize that a lot of people don't even admit that they don't have self-confidence. You got to first admit it. You need to know one thing that um, you need to start doing today. How did I build? Okay, let me use my own as an example. I used to have very low self-esteem. I used to be someone who had very bad self-confidence. I used to second guess myself. Why? Because I went to a very rich school. Majority of my friends, their dad, in fact, those days it was V-boots that was raining. So majority of them, their parents had V-boots. Me, I was following pickup to school. So I felt inferior to them. So how did I now come out of it? The first thing I did was to admit that I had self-confidence. Okay. Then I was also paying attention on the things that were not working. I had things that were working. I was a fantastic footballer, but because I was despising what I thought was the society yardstick, I was despising what was something I should use as a stepping
Yeah.
at the expense of what I should so in the process of you building your esteem, look at what is working, and be grateful for it. Look at yourself in the mirror and just there's also I talk about affirmation. Say to yourself, I love myself, I believe in myself, I accept myself. If you are taller than me, you are too tall. If you are shorter than me, you are too short. If you are finer than me, you are too fine. If you are lighter than me, you are too light. I just love me. Blow yourself with kiss and catch it. You need to develop affirmations to like yourself because everybody's struggling to admit what society standard has put for us. The pageant shows have made us feel you have to be a figure eight for people to like you. It's a lie. Some people's taste board does not savor lepa. Some people they like it or rubber. So you've got to first accept yourself. Self-acceptance is one of the greatest things you need to do on your journey to self-confidence. You need to have what your height. I will quote something that Solomon said. He said, "Thou preparest a body to do thy will." Your body is good for your assignments. So stop second guessing yourself. Stop thinking you wish, and that's why I like to jokingly say this. I like to throw jabs at women. For I say things like, "That's why we have makeup. Your lips are not red enough, so you make up for it. You are short, so you go and wear high heels, so you make up for your height. Your hair is not long enough, so you wear wigs so that you can make up for it. I even hear they're selling bomb bomb now, so your bomb bomb is not big enough, so you make up for it. So so I'm trying to say that the root of those lack of confidence is in not accepting who you are. You feel your dentition is not good enough. You think your boss is not good enough. Whatever it is, you've got to make up your mind. Then number two, go around people who affirm you. Don't go around people that condemn you. Okay. Number three, go around people who are for. Don't go around people who are confident. Confidence rub off. Okay. Because a lot of us we had a low self-esteem from childhood. You know, some of our teachers, our parents said to us, very, very, to call me Kukuru Sambe in secondary school, short man devil. I'm telling you. So I used to think being short was a disadvantage until I came across that scripture that says, "Thou preparest thy body to do." So I look at anybody. If you are taller than me, you are too tall. I'm not apologetic about my height. I can't question my God. Are we saying God is making mistake by giving us what to give us? No. So so I say to people, love yourself, blow yourself a kiss and catch it. Look in front of the mirror, do your makeup, catwalk, say I love me, accept yourself, love yourself. That it is therapeutic for several things that we were told growing up. They used to say to me that I was short people don't do anything great in life. Some of the people taller than me, they've never spoken the way I've spoken, they've not achieved the things I've achieved. So you've got to adopt an amazing attitude. Confident people have a great attitude. They are positive about life, and they're a pleasure to be around. So our attitude is influenced by many factors, but ultimately we can choose our attitude. We can choose what and how to think. It's how you think about yourself that determines your confidence. Also, your body. The quickest way to build your confidence is to use your body. Walk with an upright posture. Maintain eye contact and smile. Our body posture affects what others think about us, how we think about ourselves. A good posture sends positive signals to our brain, which reinforces our self-confidence. Okay, face your fears. All of this, have crowd control. They went to a party, they're serving in front. Your friend said, let's go and take food. Because you can't walk through the crowd, you sit there hungry. Some of you will share one plate. Face your fears. I remember the first time I did the walk across an aisle. My leg was shaking, but subsequently, I don't even care now. I was so afraid. I waited until there was, a handful of people who were left before I was hungry. Hungry was catching me, you know. So face your fears. Overcoming that fear allowed me to see myself differently. I felt empowered to do so much by just walking through the crowd. So get support. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. Hanging around negative people or people who are constantly criticizing you will reduce your self-confidence. You see, there weren't many people who supported me when I, was doing my self-confidence thing. Like someone said, Aisha wrote there, "Zero yourself." Yes. But I said to myself, I'm good looking. Hey, I'm the short is the new sexy, you know. So plan and prepare for success. Set goals. When you achieve those goals, you also build your self-confidence. Okay, so that is among many other things that you can do. But I can tell you, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I hope I
Thank you,
answered the
sir.
question. You're most welcome.
Yes, you did. You did, sir.
Awesome,
Thank you.
awesome,
Because
awesome.
I've seen people that actually take these steps, but they are not achieving the self-confidence. So I was wondering, because there are some people that they have this particular person in their head that they feel that, oh, this person is self-confident. I have to strive to be like that person without accepting themselves. And they are still going for perfection, not knowing that,
Perfection
because
is
just like you
a
said,
mirage. It doesn't
self-confidence is
exist.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to accept your imperfection first, just like
Oh
you
yes,
said.
I have full ego, but man, if you see me walk in my street, you don't know your lie, anybody. I walk with
Yeah.
confidence, with audacity, and let me look for words that are not in dictionary. I walk with audacity and pomposity. You know pomposity?
Yeah.
Pomposity is what you walk after you eat pomposity. You know, you were just joking, but I'm just saying in essence that you've got to love yourself and believe in yourself. You know. So
Thank
I'm
you,
let me
sir.
read the comments. I learned a lot about temperament. I learned that I'm not a slave to my emotions. Yes, you're not a slave to your emotions. You are a servant to your emotions. Okay. Make clear the concept of how we react from the reactions that have been buried in our subconscious. Yes, yes. I've learned that you are acting rather than feeling about acting, and not everyone deserves a piece of your mind. That's very true. So if you grow up, and if you also need to sit and ask yourself, what were the things that were peculiar to my growing up? You will find your mom in you. You will find your sister in you. You will find your teacher in you. That's why you need to now unlearn some of the things you learned unconsciously. A lot of our society, we've been erased. Our originality was erased. A lot of us lost authenticity depending on the kind of environment. I mean, I used to be a left-handed person. They said left-handed people, they don't know book. I play football till tomorrow with my left leg. I used to write with my left hand. My mother-in-law and my grandmother said people don't know book. That's how they beat left out of me. Can you see how they erased? Maybe today I'll be a genius. I don't know. So we need to now sit to ask ourselves, now, where am I going? What are the qualities that I need to get there? Will this set of anger, I said myself, anger will not allow me get to my promised land, though. I need to deal with it. Okay? I learned that your perception is not only a perception, and that society value erased authenticity. Yes. The older we grow and without self-awareness, the more we raise our authenticity and our originality. Very, very, very critical to the things that we want to do. Okay. Any other thing? Any other comments? I want to take us through it's just so much, so much. I want to do listening. From listening, then I'll go to the other thing. Okay. You see, because when you are an Assad group listener, you need to learn to listen. A lot of us hear, but not many people listen. Let me go. Let me just do listening. Active listening. Good. Let me put this on the screen. So let's hope there's no day we will do it day 3 because I've not even gotten to childhood trauma, and we need to end this by 3. So what is listening?
So we can. I mean,
I want to wait for our feedback. What do you
you say
understand
your.
by listening? Apart from the thing on the screen, can I get your responses on the chat? Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's writing anything. What do you understand by listening? Okay, what is listening? Are we there or we have gone home?
We are reading it at the comment box.
Okay, I can't see anything in the comment box. Or is it my own laptop? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. My laptop did it. Listening is receiving the info that the sender is passing across. Listening is giving someone your time and attention when they talk to you. To pay attention to what someone is saying and be able to gain feedback. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for those that gave attempts. All right. So let's go on. Active listening. So have you heard people say things like, "You're not listening to me"? So we need to ask ourselves, what cues create this perception? How do you know that someone is not listening to you? So there are a lot of times we have communication barriers. So part of them include noise, language, culture, disinterest, experience, education, emotion, vocabulary, mood, beliefs. These are some of the things that are barriers to communication. The problem is that listening and hearing is not the same thing. Listening with interest is different from just listening casually. Okay, trying to get rid of your assumptions. So let me rephrase it. So stop all of this trying to get rid of assumptions. You need to learn to listen for what is being said. You see, because the challenging thing about listening is that when we were from primary school to university, they never taught us listening 101. Anybody has done listening 101 or listening 202? You will see from the slide that listening is one of the critical parts of communication, yet is one of the parts of communication that many people don't talk about. Active listening has three stages. It has the non-verbal, it has the cues, it has the paraphrasing, the clarifying, and the summarizing. When you are in active listening, listening, you are a facilitator with the assad listening group or a group therapy. You've got to learn to clarify. You've got to learn to summarize. So you say things like, "Okay, so I heard you. So did you say you were raped when you were small? You are trying to say that somebody was raped." So paraphrasing, clarifying, summarizing helps communication because sometimes some people are thinking one thing, they're saying something else. Then you need to also know non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues they're very powerful ways. In fact, there's a way you fold your hand. There's a look that says "shut up." There's a look that says you are saying nonsense. So as you develop your facilitation skills, you've got to develop your ability to listen to things that people are not saying. I said it yesterday. I said when you develop very good emotional intelligence, you will develop the ability to hear what people are saying and what people are not saying. Okay, because non-verbal cues are very, very important. Research shows that writing is most taught language skill, and yet is used only 9% of the time. Reading is another vital skill, and schools devote a great deal of time to phonics, word building, reading technique. We use reading only 16% of the time. Speaking fares better in terms of thought time, but it is used only 30% of the time. Sweetheart, can you see what's on the screen? Listening is taught at least Listening is taught the least, beg your pardon, and yet we use it 45% of the time. Can you see that? From the brighter grammar days, somehow, as much as I respected that book, listening was just left out of the things that we were taught in communication. So an average person does not An average person hears, an average person does not listen. Okay? And listening is critical to what we're doing. In fact, a lot of you've had misunderstanding with your parents because you were not a good listener. Okay? So I need us to know that until we understand the place of listening, it will be difficult for us to do this job effectively. Don't forget, I'm not saying you will be perfect tomorrow morning. I'm just saying it must be in our subconscious mind that we are working towards a particular um, skill set. I mean, when I first saw this online, it shook me to my roots. 60% is used for reading, 30% for speaking, 45% of what communication entails is listening. Yet we're not taught in school. Such an ironical thing. Okay, 7 habits of highly effective people. They seek first to understand than to be understood. When we say, I hear what you say, do you really hear what they say? Okay, so you need to seek first to understand than to be understood. Okay, hearing versus listening. Hearing is an inherent ability, listening is an acquired skill, a mental process that can be learned, that can be refined with practice. Can I say that again? Hearing is an inherent ability. Listening is an acquired skill, a mental process that can be learned and refined with practice. So if it is a skill that can be learned, I think you're asking me the same question I had to ask my English teacher one day I met him at ShopRite. That why didn't you guys teach us listening when we were growing up? Anyway, this is another privilege to learn listening. So, next slide. We are told to listen in school, not coached. No wonder most people are good at listening to others. It is a skill that requires concentration and practice. Yet, strangely enough, few people have difficulty listening to the news, music, or to a good radio program. Interest holds the attention. Very powerful. Perhaps we need to learn to be interested in others. Okay? We listen. Do we really hear? When we listen, do we really hear? When we look, do we really see? We shortchange ourselves and those we sell to if we cannot really hear and see them. And by that, I mean maintain eye contact with them. We're often obsessed with our thoughts, with our opinions, and our compulsion to talk. It has been said that since we're given 2 ears and 1 mouth, we should listen twice as much as we speak. Okay. Listening. What should we listen to and for? We should listen for the tone of the voice, which may include repetition of an old line of thoughts, a more animated voice, which may indicate the awakening of new ideas. Listening to other things, body language. Choice of words can be very revealing. A predominance of negative terms, a shift towards formality for English language, all have hidden meanings that can help the salesperson or the audience understand and therefore proceed effectively. You need to also watch out for body language just for the purpose of choosing the right questions. A high level of interest may be indicated by a forward posture. Uncertainty or anxiety in answers may be revealed by a hand partially covering the mouth while speaking. Arms folded across the chest indicates resistance or defiance, and an open body posture suggests receptivity and flexibility. I wish I was taught in school. Are you a good listener? Are you ready for this test? Let me come and give you, let me do this test. We usually, people pay to take this test when we do trainings, but I'm going to do it for you for free. So you will know what you can be an ASAD. If you were called, we're going to be called ASAD, certified ASAD listeners, Abby. Oh yeah, let's see whether we're good listeners. Here you go. So get a pen, a sheet of paper. We're going to do a listening skills assessment test. Listening skill assessment test was put together by the Harvard University. We have the franchise to use it. So we're going to do it for free. Okay, listening skills assessment. You can't be an ASAD listener and you don't understand listening skills. You know, it's going to be very powerful I'm gonna wait for us. Get a sheet of paper. Get. So here's the instruction. Score yourself by answering the following question. Use a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the outstanding and 1 being poor. Okay, so you have only two options. It's either you write okay, being outstanding and 1 being poor. Okay, you can use the scale of 1 to 10, being 1 being. I'm trying to ensure that you rightly. If we use 1 and 10, we'll have so much a variance. So you can do. Let's do 1 and 10. So that we can have the range in a very good way. Number one, I usually find people genuinely interesting. Okay. Number two, I'm curious about what makes people tick and enjoy learning more about them. Number three, I think listening is generally easy and comes naturally to me. I empathize with the speaker. I'm not distracted by the things going on around me when listening to someone. So 5 questions, quick. Let's score ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. Okay, so are you outstanding when it comes to empathizing with the speaker? Are you being poor? So I will see 110. Can I go to the next slide? Okay, thank you, Aisha. Listening skill assessment. I attempt to minimize distractions and interruptions when the environment is within my control in my home, my office, for example. Number 7, I make it a point to maintain my composure and never let my emotions run away with me when I'm listening. Please don't rush it. You have to read the questions about 2-3 times. I'm listening to another person. I ask friendly questions to encourage others to talk more. I'm not embarrassed or intimidated when I don't fully understand. I simply ask them to explain. Please take your time to answer. Take your time, answer it correctly. This person that is just joining, choose up, Steven. We can't wait for you. Okay, let me move to the next one. I try to focus on the central point of the conversation. I restate important points to make sure someone's mic is on. I restate important points to make sure I understand key issues. I try to create a non-threatening environment to encourage open discussion. I smile and nod when others speak to let them know I am interested in what they want to say. Take your time, score yourself. Should I self be true? No forming, no hiding. Can I go to the next set of questions? I need a feedback from us. Aramide says no. Omaomi says yes. Felicia says yes. Next question. Set of 14. I force myself to focus on what the other person is saying, even if I don't find it particularly interesting. I do not let my mind wander or think about what I will say when someone is talking to me. I maintain eye contact in a conversation. I'm very conscious of my body language and make sure I am in an open and acceptable position when I listen. Take your time. 1 or 10. 1 or 10. 1 or 10. Okay, so can we go on? Next question. I observed the other person's body language and considered it an important part of the communication process. I do not try to anticipate what someone will say. When say next, then complete the sentence for them. I don't interrupt when others are speaking. I never say, let me finish, or make similar statement when someone interrupts me. This one, I'm waiting for answers for this one. I don't raise my voice to drown my complaints and comments. Okay, so who is knocking on the door? Can you kindly briefly go to 4 and 5 when we are done? I didn't get the questions. Thank you. Okay. Aramde, certainly. I will. So can I move from here? The first time I did this, I knew that I was a bad listener. So I'm waiting for someone to come and lamber us now and be giving yourself good marks. I'm waiting for you. In fact, Timmy, okay, someone says no. Timmy, we need to, anyone that's going to be an assad listener, they need to take this assessment. If they don't pass it, they can't pass. Because, I mean, that's what we are called, assad listeners. You can't be an assad listener if you don't pass the listening skills assessment test. You know, so we say people should come and take this. They say they're not doing it. It's expensive. It's okay.
Yes, sir. Aramide, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you. I'll get the slide.
I hope you are taking note of everything.
Yes, so maybe they'll still share the slides now, so I'll just get it.
This one, I'm not sharing this one. This one is my intellectual property.
Oh, when you go back, I'll just take screenshots.
It's my intellectual property. I will not share. I will share other ones, but this listener skills assessment, people pay to take it.
Okay. So maybe they'll have to pay them.
Okay, so we're just leveraging on Assad's platform to take it. Maybe at some point I will. I just want to make scale up value for anyone who is going to be an Assad listener. Okay, so that we can put them through these issues or this test in a very deliberate and intention. And there are things to do. There's an exercise to do after it to close the gaps, your listening gaps. Well, we all have listening problems. That's the truth. Okay, so can I move now? So can I go to the next question? Okay, thank you. The last set of questions. I'm not judgmental about others. I don't make about a subject until I've heard all the facts. I always of this now I would like to have as a thyself be true. To thyself be very true. Okay, done. So someone requested for I think 4 to 5. Let me scroll up and find that again. 4 and 5. Okay, I'll go back to 4 and 5 as requested by you. Okay, so this is 4 and 5. I empathize with the speaker. I'm not distracted by things going around me when listening to someone. I empathize with the speaker, um, and I'm not distracted by the things going on around me when listening to someone. 30 seconds to go. Yeah, are we done with the exercise? Okay, so add up your score. Let me allow you add up your score before I show you so that people will not be altering their score. Oh yeah, add up your score. Put your scores on the chat box. I'm waiting. We're 12 participants. Add up your score. What you got in 21, 2, 3, 25. So you should have 25 scores from 25 questions. Add up everything. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's use calculators now. Waiting. Okay. Aisha 157. Abdurrahim 110, 170, Felicia 205, Joy 214. Yeah, we used 110, yeah. Okay, so Abdurrahim is asking a question. Oh, okay. Let me go back to the beginning. Wasn't designed by me. 1 and 10. Go back, if you look at your screen, you see it. This is a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being outstanding. That question aligns with you, and 1 being poor. Can I say that again? So Abdurrahim, go back to, can you see the screen? Is 1 and 10. 1 and 10. So maybe you have to do yours again. 232, Temi Von Joy, 214. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 2 people who are, okay. Because of time, I would have to run. So it's like, who wants to be a millionaire? So I'm going to bail the answers. Okay. So here you go. So if you score between 225 and 250, you are a saint. If you score between 200 and 224, you are great. If you score between 175 and 119, you're pretty good. If you score between 150 and 174, you're better than average. If you score between 125 and 149, you're above average. If you score between 100 and 124, you are scoring less than half. You need to wake up. So how was the exercise? What did it do for you? So unmute yourself. Let me hear you. Let me hear you.
I think for me, it made me aware of the things that I do that I didn't even know I used to do them in listening.
Awesome.
So I could see that, yes, when I try to listen to someone and I'm trying to give my full attention. So it was just something I was just doing because I realized that the person needs it at that time. And it wasn't something I even knew I was doing. So
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let me hear someone else. Okay. Chisholm Steven raised his hand. Okay, someone said open my eyes. Okay. Abdurrahim 178.
I think the test actually opened my eyes to a lot of things I was doing wrong, like that forming assumptions before the person is done talking. Is I didn't actually know that I was wrong, because sometimes we tend to, when we are listening to people, we tend to already have in our head, we think we know where the person is going. So I think that's the test opened my eyes to that.
Okay. I like your mom. Thank you for this feedback. It means a lot. She said, it made me see what I've done in the past. I learned not interrupting from my dad, and it made me what I need to do. It made me, and maybe what I need to do better. Who wants to share another experience? Another experience. Oh yeah, no. So to me, you agree with me that every Assad listener should take this test.
totally, it's very, very, very important because it makes them aware. It's very important.
Yes. Awareness is key to anything. Self-awareness.
Yes.
Okay, Aisha says, help me to know that the areas that need work and help to identify things that I didn't even know I did them there happen to be an issue. Okay. Well, let me take one more comment before I move on. One more comment. One more comment. Where now?
Yeah, let's serve as the source of self-awareness.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I can hear you. The line is breaking.
For me, in a very big way. At some point, answering some questions, I was like, I don't know. Should I say 10 or 010? I was really
Yes, that's true. The range was really far apart. There are sometimes that you'll be like, oh, I used to do it. And then so for some times, for some people, I don't do it as such. I don't listen well. So you don't know whether you should pick 10 or 1 or in between.
Yeah, so when we started, it crossed my mind. We could do the in between for to be able to help people who are neither here nor there. Okay, so what do we do? Well, I mean, what he has done for you is that he's giving you awareness. Maybe in a subsequent session, we can do the two extremes and the middle. You know, just to be, give some fair hearing to people who are on that learning curve. Thank you for that. You know, but let's move on. So either way, we still know that we can't know everything, so we will embrace. So let's go to the next slide. Active listening, the effectiveness of the spoken word hinges not so much on how people talk, but mostly on how they listen. Most people have the talking know-how, but lack the listening know-how. That's powerful. Most people have the talking know-how, but they lack the listening know-how. What we hear is responsible for 80% of our challenges or achievements in life. Amazing, isn't it? Some misconceptions. People say, I'm a good reader, I'm a good talker, I'm a good at memorizing facts, I am intelligent. The real challenge with listening is speed. We think much faster than we talk. Okay, 125 words per minute, 30 minutes brain cells. What he's saying in essence is that we think at 125 words per minute and it's faster than how we talk. We must use spare time wisely. We must stay on the track as avoid side tracks. So what do I need to help listening? Number one, think ahead. Try to anticipate. Do you help with listening? Do you think ahead? Try to anticipate where the speaker's discourse is leading to and what the conclusion will be. Help with listening. Do you weigh the evidence used by the talker to support the points they make? Okay. Ask, is this evidence valid? Is it complete? So it's important to ask, is this evidence valid? Is this evidence valid? Is it complete? Periodically review the speech. Mentally summarize the points of the talk thus far. Listen between the lines. Listen between the lines for hidden info. That's why I said to you earlier that it's important. It's important that you listen to information that is hidden. So when you are a listener, that is very, very important. The construct of communication. A talker has a thought, an idea, a picture. He breaks it down in his mind and tries to transmit it in words. The listener must construct the original thought picture. In other words, the key thing to that is that you must not lose words. So what he's trying to say in essence is someone has a thought. He's trying to communicate it in pictorial words. And I said yesterday that words paint pictures. So when you are listening to people who have come to talk to you, even on a one-on-one, you must learn to help them paint pictures with what they're saying. when someone says around 1 a.m. yesterday, I remember that so. Then later on, he said 2 weeks ago around 1 a.m. What he's trying to say to you is that maybe part of the issue is that she has insomnia or she's nocturnal. The construct of communication, grasp and understand the idea. Better to get the idea of the speech than cramming the fact. This miraculously helps the listener remember the fact more effectively. Excuse me. Okay. So the construct of communication, someone's mic is on. Somebody's mic is on. She's on. Okay. So switch off all emotional filters. Be open-minded when you are communicating. Withhold evaluation till the end. Hunt for negative and positive evidences. Construct of communication. Pay attention to non-verbal communication, the tone that the person is using, the facial expression, the body language, and the eye. Okay. So, I also want to quickly take us through how values are formed, how beliefs and values are formed, and how that affects them. Okay, let's start from here. So what do you understand by values? Somebody, let me type in the comment section. What do you understand by values? So what do you understand by values, somebody? Values. I'm waiting.
I feel value is basically the importance that you place on something or yourself.
The importance you put on something, okay? Let me hear other people. Values.
I think values are your beliefs, your principles or beliefs or standards that someone has that you uphold.
Okay, the standard someone has. Okay. Any other person?
I think beliefs are the principles, values are beliefs, principles, or actions that
matter a lot to you, or that guide the things that you do, or the way you behave?
Okay. Someone says, Aisha says, the belief, the principles, the action that matter to you. The man says, values are things you hold in high esteem. The brother says, standards are a person's upholds. Okay. What you place on something or someone. All right. Very good attempt. So your values are the reason behind your goals. So for example, now, you want to make ₦1 million, that's the goal. But what do you use ₦1 million to do? You want to use ₦1 million to look good. Looking good is one of your values. You use ₦1 million to get a car because comfort is one of your values. In other words, the reason behind your goal is tied to your value. I want that to sink. The reason behind your goals is tied to your values. The reason why you want to be an aside listener is because you have value in transforming life, in being there for people. Excuse me. So what are values? They are the reason for your goals. They are the needs they need. They are the essence of your chase. Values are the real target your goal missiles are being launched. I want all of this to sink. Don't forget, this is to first sort you out before you attempt to sort other people out. And I'm going to link to your sessions when you become a aside listener facilitator, group therapy, or whatever we want to call it. So how does it apply to the people you're going to be speaking to? So one of the reasons why people have emotional issues is because the reason behind their goals is not being achieved. The need behind their needs are not being met. The essence of their chase is not being reached. So almost everyone in the class you will attend, they will have issues with a problem with their goal. Because you are happy when your goals are achieved. And that's why I showed these diagrams. Can you see? So values are one principles or standards. Another definition for values are one's principles or standards. Another definition for value is one judgment of what is valuable or important in your life. So for anyone that is having one mental health or the other, just be using this as a benchmark of why will people have emotional issues. So as you are defining it, be it to the people that will be in your audience. In other words, for example, now let's use respect. Maybe someone in your audience is called respect and he's been disrespected all his life. His parents said he was good for nothing. His friends said he was good for nothing. His junior sister said he will never until he's 50. You know, all of that abuse. So all of that now began to, we call them emotional bullets. They're being shot at him. So he became depressed. But if respect was not one of his values, you know that would not have affected him. So because his value was violated, that's why he had emotional and psychological disorder. I hope these things are getting clear. Okay. Okay, or for someone who says, you have to be married. If you are not married, you are not society compliant. Okay, so he's 35 and he's not married because he has made marriage a achievement. That psychological disorder is because that value was violated. Some of you are here also that you have issues. You're. I mean, let me help you to say this way. So the easiest way to know what is the core value to you is look at what got you angry. Some of you, your core value is respect. When you are angry. Some of you, your core value is justice. You just hate injustice. How can you give Titi 2 slices of bread and give me 1 slice of bread? What is good for the good is good for the gander. Okay? So that's another example. Some of you like order. My junior sister, she likes order. You know, when she enters your house, she enters with her eyes. There's the one that saw that there's cobweb at the entrance. There's a paper under the chair close to where you are sitting. Why didn't the house help sweep it? If you're not careful, you will think she's being sarcastic. But that's who she is. Her core value is neatness, eyes for order. You know, my wife used to think, this is your sister, she can be picky. But later on, she understood. I said, that's the way she's been all her life. She's been an usher all her life in my church. Why? She's grown up to see orderliness as a value. So those kind of people, when you go to the house and before you come, you see every shoes in one corner, you know, tops in hang on the hanger, the pots are always clean. There's air freshener, the bed sheets are always sparkling pinkish, you know. So you now come, you when you sit on the bed, you remove bed sheets to cover your leg when you were watching film. And when you are going, you say, why are you now frowning? I will frown. You have violated my value. Also, if they have respect for you, they will allow you go. They will now sweep. You know, there's a way you can sweep somebody's leg out. I'm trying to find illustrations that can depict what values are and what it does, the violation of it, what it does to you, the validation of it, what it does to you. Let's go on. Values are referred to as codes of conduct, discipline, or ethics. A code of conduct, discipline, or ethics. What are the universal laws of values? Need to run now. Number one, values influence behavior and outcomes. Let me say that again. Your values influence your behavior. Why are you in this class? Because you value self-development. Okay? So values influence your behavior and your outcomes. Because you have leadership ability, you are not a leader by position, but when you get to a place, you just want order. I mean, there's a bus stop close to my estate. There's this guy, very unkept guy. But if I have a job for a street leader, I will employ him. The guy will just get to the bus stop. He's not an agbero. We just get there and we just begin to arrange everybody. And somehow people just listen to him. Isn't that amazing? You know, so because there's leadership in him, he has eyes for order, as scruffy looking as he is. So it's because he has values for order, he goes there to arrange people. So, and he has backup of the agbero. So you can't shunt lanes when you're queuing for a bus. So when I'm driving past, I'm always, in awe of how there can be order on the street. Okay? So he influences your behavior, and influences your outcomes. Some of you are not relational. Some of you can look for people for Africa. There's nothing wrong. Some of you are so withdrawn. You're not social. You are not a socialite. Number two, our actions are naturally in alignment with our values. Why am I doing this? If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do 6 hours of coaching like I'm doing for you, if I charge 50K per hour, I should be earning about 300K since yesterday. So why am I doing it even though I'm practically earning close to nothing? I have a value for empowering lives. The fulfillment I get when I can help people come out of ignorance, when I can transform lives, it's unbelievable. Number three, Pain, disappointment, frustration are results of conflict between our actions and our values. Pain. So we feel pain, we feel disappointed, we feel frustrated when people violate our values. Some of you can't stand someone to cheat. You can't stand it. You can't stand someone. Let me look for another example of values that are very common. Well, you get very, very, very angry when people um, feel entitled. And entitlement is an African thing. You know, when I just got to Lagos, I was sharing with someone this morning how the estate I stayed in, they were just so entitled. So I just started life, didn't have a family. I used to use a car, buy another car, change it, you know. You know, they will come and knock your door that you didn't tell them that you bought a car. Man. When you buy fridge, I'm not exaggerating. When you buy a fridge, they will come and say, oh, they used to, someone said I look at someone that worked at DSS or in the bank because I was always on my own. Oh, Mr. T, you bought fridge, you didn't tell us. Very entitled environment. And I hate entitlement because one of the things I said to myself early in life was that I borrowed myself brain. I said to myself, my father is not Dangote, my father is not a $10. I've got to, you know, ensure that I make something out of life because the best helping hands are the ones attached to your shoulder blades. So I dust my shoulder blades and I quickly borrow myself brain. So when I see entitled people, it puts me off. Okay? So when you focus on their clarified values, that's when there's personal effectiveness. Actions, values, and beliefs, you know what it does for you? It gives you tranquility, pleasure, joy, and peace. Someone is knocking on the chat room. Yes, so the best helping hands are the ones attached to your shoulder blades. Very true, Aisha. Okay, so having said that, it's now important for us to know the sources of value. What are the sources of value? How do I get my values? How did you get your values? Don't forget I said to us earlier that values are inherited, but I want to just break it down for us in a way that everyone will be able to understand it practically. Uh, so, number one source of value is our genetic makeup. Don't forget I said to you earlier, please be finding your own. And why am I taking this route? I'm going through this route so that you will know the reason why people have psychological disorders. They are linked to distortion of values, unfulfilled dreams. So genetic makeup. For example, I inherited anger from my father and from my mom. I inherited reading from my father. Before he passed on, was a medical doctor. So I grew up using libraries. So those days when I used to play football, when my father comes back from work, you must just be reading. It was the horse band, it wasn't the horse band, HOUSEBAND, it was the horse band, HORSE. Because once it comes like this, everybody you scatter, you go to the study, you must just be reading. He wanted me to be a medical doctor, but somehow I saw blood in his hospital and I fainted. Don't tell anybody I told you. Okay, so but genetic makeup, sorry about that. Genetic makeup. Okay, Look at your life. You see the things inherited from your mom, good, bad, and ugly. The things inherited from your dad. One lady came to me and said, "This sharp mouth will now my mama give me. Hey, if my mom abused you for Africa, you you will forget your name." I asked her, I said, "Do you think it's good enough for you to continue in what you have learned?" She said, "No." How did your mom end up? She said, "My mom had three husbands, were three for my mom, one for her, different." So I said, "So do you think you want to hold on to that value?" She said, "No, I need to unlearn it." So this exercise is to also help you look at the good, bad, and the ugly you have learned from your parents. Hold on to the good, unlearn the bad, intentionally unlearn the ugly. The ugly part is I picked anger from my father. The good part is I picked orderliness, leadership, and being prompt from my mom. Okay, I picked reading from my dad. Okay, so my genetic makeup. So sometimes when people are in your class, you need to use these things to apply to diagnose people that have come to your session too. Because when someone says things like, "I don't take nonsense," what are you hearing? There's somebody in her life when she was growing up that does not take nonsense. If someone took nonsense when she was growing up, she will take, what's the present continuous of took? Take taking nonsense. We taking nonsense. So all of this one, you have violated my values. Excuse me, you got no values. Your values were inherited. So when husband and wife, so if you're in a relationship and you and your spouse are in a conflict, you know what sometimes has happened is that your spouse's parents' values and your own parents' values that you inherited has come together. So really and truly, you and your spouse are not fighting. Is you is your if your fiance or your boyfriend grew up with a dad and the dad used to work in strife, and your mom used to be hostile. So when you people have a disagreement, he doesn't want to talk to you, you are hostile against him. You know what has happened? It is your boyfriend's dad and your mom that are having conflict. Think about it. Multi-shake table, man. So all of these, my values, excuse me, sir. Let me say it in the William release. Excuse me, sir. It's not your values. They're inherited. Let me go on. I don't know something about this class. And you people are just making me feel like about to be here. Education and learning. So our values are picked from education and learning. Um, what helped me scale up my accent was the Ghanaian teacher I had, Mr. Kufa. So in my primary school, I liked phonetics so much. I like to so we used to do pronunciations, helped me. So I picked that in my education. In fact, don't tell anybody I told you this. One of the ladies that I was meant to, we were in a relationship for a while. But one of the reasons why I broke the relationship was she very well, in fact, that means that if I had married her, they were going to bless us with a car and a few other things on our wedding day. But I knew I was going to be a global figure. And this lady couldn't speak good English. So beautiful, every other thing, but man, I just couldn't compromise that particular part. You would just blow gun like this. You want to dodge the bullet, you know. So because I had the privilege of learning under a Ghanaian tutor, um, speaking good English is very critical for me. I'm put off easily when people can't, speak well. Also because I'm a public speaker. And where did I get all of that from? The history starts from my Ghanaian teacher. Then my father was director for primary health care. I saw my dad giving speech and used to, give me a round of applause. So education and learning. Some of you, the reason why you are a Muslim is because you are a Muslim family. Some of you, the reason why you're a Christian is because you're a Christian. Or maybe you had someone influenced you to cross carpet from Muslim to Christian or from Christian to Muslim. Education, learning from friends, from family. In fact, learning from TV. Some of you that you like to watch a lot of, I don't say, I'm not saying it's bad, but I can't stand some of these fetish Yoruba films. Some of you have watched so much soap opera that it's difficult to trust somebody. You can't trust your boyfriend, even though there are no evidences that it's cheating. You go and be scrolling on his chat and you're looking for this chat is not coherent. You have deleted something. It's what I've learned. Akindele cheated on then I'm saying no. Then you now because you see our subconscious mind captures everything that we expose our minds to. Okay, so it's critical for us to know that we're all a product. I mean, minimum of 50 different scripts programming are running in your life as you see. Minimum. From friends to TVs to soap operas to what your dad told you, to what your mom told you, to what your sister told you, to what an authority figure told you, to what your friends told you at early age. Education and learning. Religion also shapes our values. Some of you give to the poor because your religion encourages you to give to the poor. Some of you give tithe in church because your religion encourages you. I need to run. The next one, the roles that you play. Okay, so let me also mention roles. How do I mean by roles? So I grew up, I'm the only son among four ladies. And my dad at the time became a polygamist rather than left the house. So I was forced to grow up fast. I became the man of the house, even though I'm the second born, at a teenage age. I started driving at 16. 16, yeah. I started driving at 16. I got responsible very early. But my mom said I used to fight anyone that, disturbed my sisters in the government quarters where we stayed. So because my daddy was an absentee father, my role, the leadership ability in me got exposed early. So I am a natural leader. Before I was even privileged to be given leadership roles, I had evolved to become a natural leader. So I nurtured the nature of leadership that I had. So some people argue leadership by nature or by nurture, both. Some people are by nature leaders, but you have to nurture your nature so that nature will not allow you, or so that nature will not deny you what nurture could have helped you to attain. Okay, so that helped me. My GS1, I was class captain. My GS3, I was football captain. My SS3, I was football captain. When I got into university, I went to Nuga, pre-Nuga. So the leadership thing has just been there. That's why I love George Banner's definition of vision. He said vision is a foresight based on an insight with benefits of hindsight. The things that has happened to you, if you look back, they're all adding up. So there's a foresight based on the things you are seeing inside with the benefits of things that has happened hindsight. Okay, some of you, why are you Nasad? There's just a humanitarian part of you, the compassionate part of you. I grew up seeing my parents, my uncles and aunties grew up in a house. I mean, those days, when you wake up in the night to watch TV, our sitting room used to be filled with uncles and aunties. My dad was the firstborn, so he had uncles and aunties. So unconsciously, when I started my family, my wife's auntie, my wife's sister, we also had a full house. Why did I learn how to be accommodating? I learned it from my dad and from the several roles that I have taken. So when people are talking, use this to, place them. You will just realize that a lot of people don't understand what they're saying. Let me run. So, identify your governing values. Why do you need to identify your governing values? Because your values, okay, I don't want to go ahead of myself. Make a value list. Make a value list. So all of these things will scale up your own awareness, so that when you're talking to people, you will be less confrontational, you will be more empathetic, you will be more flexible. So when someone says things like, it's not good to put Maggie inside beans, I know, where did Jora go all day? We're almost rounding up. I know that, someone must have installed that into her. One of the very unpleasant fights I had with not physical fight, disagreement I had with my roommate then, we used to cook together. So he said to me, TJ, I can't eat Maggie inside beans. Doesn't make sense. It's sugar they used to put inside beans. Say sugar. As me, I grew up. Don't forget I said values are inherited. Me, I grew up, my mom will put salt, she will put maggi, she'll put onion. You are cooking beans with sugar. Where then they do them? I mean, it's later on when I began to do psychology, I realized that a lot of the fights that we used to fight, they were not necessary. So our fight then was between the fight between my neighbors, I mean my roommate's mom and my own mom, because it was their values that clashed. Immediately when the first time he cooked it, I said I would never eat beans. You know those agidi that do not take you anywhere. But the second time he made beans, hunger made me accept that sugar in beans makes sense. Up to tomorrow, I still put sugar in my beans. You know. So what am I saying? I'm saying when people are talking, see it beyond them. When you are in the midst, in front of an audience, always know. For some of this thing I'm saying, mentioning it to people will lower their shoulder pad. You know, some people come to meetings like this, we know it all. When you mention some of these things to them, their shoulder pad will drop because it's not an everyday information you have access to. So make a value list, identify your governing values. Um, Identify the key drivers. Why are these values important to me? Why is it that I like respect? If threatened or validated, how would I feel? How will I react? Do these feelings, reactions violate or validate or any of my other values? If I don't or do have them, how do I feel? These are critical questions. Time will not allow us to do the exercise, but the slides will be made available to us. Okay, to those that paid. Anyway, we did this yesterday. Wheel of Life, very powerful. So, what will I do if I knew I had only 6 months left to live? What will I change and why? This is also to help you get more flexible. Some of the things you're holding on to, sweetheart, they're not worth it. I held on to beans. I'm going to use beans and Gary. I mean, beans and Maggie. Held on to it like it's the end of the world. Some of your opinions are not the only opinions available. A listener must be flexible in his thinking. He must be adaptable in his approach. He must be empathetic when he's talking. It's not that someone says they don't do it that way. Then you now say, are you the one that is no, 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 no. That's not the way it works. Okay? So if you are going to make anything work, if you're going to be a great listener, you've got to pay attention to these things that I'm saying to you. Okay. Next one. So what are your governing values? Should we go to setting powerful goals? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot for you to digest. So what have you learned in the last session? Quick. Maybe I should use the next 15 minutes to take questions. I promised you to do child trauma. Joy, we're rounding up. Someone is just asking to join in. So yes. What have you learned? Waiting. Well, I've just been speaking to myself. What have you learned, ladies and gentlemen? Abdulatif, Kate, Aisha, Akere Chiso, Omomi, Aramide, Felicia, Joy. The Joy just came in. Dora, where did you go, Dora? You missed, oh man. Don't let me blow my own. But I think the things that were shared today, they were of immense value. Okay, someone said the meaning of values and how they are formed. Okay, so I'm going to take 12 comments before continuing. Thank you, Felicia. I've learned to question my so-called values and check their origin. that our values aren't innate all the time. Some are learned. Yeah, I'm listening, waiting. Just three people. All this my Turing chick. So many things affect our values. There are some things to learn and there's some things to unlearn. Very true, Momo. Good afternoon, sir. Very true. I missed a lot, but is it possible to get the recording? So I just talked to Timmy. Timmy will sort that out. Oh, yeah, now waiting for other people. Other people now. I think I'll bring it to a close today, but I want to take questions and I want to take feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback, questions. Only three people learned something. Jesus is Lord. Abdulatif, thank you. So what did you learn, Abdulatif? Values are reasons behind your goals. Awesome. Accurately as this. Thank you, accurately as this. Okay. Timmy is trying to come back in. Oh, Timmy, I didn't know you had left. Powerful stuffs.
No, I was here, sir. I just had to change my other phone. I'm using my other phone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you, Aramde, for asking. You can change your values. So this is how to change your values. Number one, sit down and ask yourself, where did you get these values from? Number two, ask, what did this value do for the person that you learned it from? Number three, list these values and ask yourself, will these values help me achieve my vision or will it sabotage my vision? Number four, list the opposite of the values and get an accountability partner to begin to replace the old values with the new values. So you make a fresh commitment to say, so it's a learning curve. You will fall below the ambit of the new values. For example, there was a time I had to set goals that I won't get angry for a month. So yeah, values can be replaced, but it takes, like someone had put there, when you go and check the origin, when I saw, I mean, my father was average because he had anger issues. So I said to myself, I'm as intelligent as my dad, but if I don't deal with these issues, I will be average like him. Okay. So, um, so that motivated me a lot. If you don't, because change takes place when emotional connections are there. Okay. I learned that to live happily, I need to check my values and be sure I'm holding on to the right values. Thank you, Chisholm Stephen. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Waiting. I learned that what I classified as values are not mine. I need to know my core values and try to make them clash with others by accepting that they are sources. I also learned active listening skills to be self-confident. Joy, you told me. Thank you. Uh, Let me take more people. Then there should be more things. I mean, I've tried to compress what I would do in 5 hours for you in 3 hours. Use very practical examples. I'll discuss with Timmy when we can do another class. I will have said tomorrow, but my tomorrow is packed. So we agree on the time. I still owe you another 2 hours because I want to, okay? That we need to pay more attention to the reason behind why we hold on to the things we hold on to. Oh, very, very powerful, Aisha. A lot of time we hold on to, we're committed to what has expired. You know, yeah, we need to question our environment and the things we have learned and picked from the environment. Very true. I have to question mine. For example, thank God this is not, I don't believe any nurse is here. So because my father had issues with a lot of nurses, when I was a single, I want to see my face. When I was a single guy, my dad said to me, you can marry from the north, you can marry from the south, but don't marry a nurse. It took me, in fact, I was a nurse I was close to at the time. I had to, Joy, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's a good illustration. So it's not to make anyone feel bad. You know, so my dad said that to me. But I had to, was later when I grew up, I realized that it was my father's opinion. He was trying to rub his own opinion on my own. So I digested that bitter pill without questioning why. You know, so my dad had a private hospital. His nurses were doing all sorts of stuff. So he said to me, the only reason why you fight me is so it's just like some of our fathers have said to us, don't marry someone that is light. Light people don't stay in their husband's house. Don't marry somebody from Ibadan. Those opinions are very they're very what will I use now? I want to be since it's referring to our parents, I'm trying to make it something more modest. It's very mundane. Thank you. We don't marry Igbo. I said my parents on this table. I'm shaking the table. You know, and they inherited it. Maybe they don't even have any experience with any bad Igbo person. But a neighbor said it. You know, someone said, I wish Dari was in this meeting. A neighbor said it, or his friend colleague said it at work that his son married Igbo, that is not settled. They just held on to it. So they got home and created an environment where your seed was growing, where they said, don't marry Igbo people. So that's very powerful. You need to question. I have to question a lot of things. In fact, I met that nurse many years after I was married. I had to apologize to her because I just cut off. And I was running a program that was installed on me into me by my father because of his own unpleasant experience with a nurse. Can you see how powerful? And you have to go back and list Yoruba men are promiscuous, yes. Or they say Jebu women, they don't bail your call, they don't live in their husband's house. All manner of on not information that is not database, that is very petty. You know, one of the things my father also told me is that women used to give themselves good meat, this bone they will be giving you. So I grew up learning to eat outside. So my father would take me and we would go and eat. There's a place called Amala Mama Street. You know, my father took me around different. I knew where to eat out. So we eat out, clean our mouth, and go back home in the evening. My mom would still serve us. So tell me, if I don't question those kind of environments, I would have still been doing that now. Unfortunately, my wife would like to cook. So, already our marriage is going to be troubled on arrival. Tell me once, your father is a great son. You've got to go check yourself. What are the things that your parents have said to you that isn't factual, that isn't database, that is mundane, that is myopic, that doesn't have an helicopter view, and you need to unlearn it. Okay, very, very important. So we have a few minutes to go. I need to round up for 3. I trust that this session was helpful. I even exceeded the things I wanted to share with us. But I know that I'm investing in lives that are willing to transform our lives. Okay. I have another meeting for 4, and I've not even put my together. I have another one for 6. Okay. If there are no more comments and there are no questions, I think it's a good time to wrap it up today. So for everyone that joined in, thank you. The recordings are in my email, so once I forward to Timmy, Timmy will find who should have it and who shouldn't have it. Timmy, the floor is yours.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. I don't know what to say, but thank you. I'm sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Come on, me. The duty. Just on duty. Deborah. I can hear Timmy. Really, as just pleasure meeting you, Felicia. Nice having you in class. Amal Luga, thank you for being for showing me.
Can you hear me, sir?
Thank you, everyone. Aisha, I troublesome Aisha.
Can you hear me, sir? Can anybody hear me? Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate this. I mean, we can't even, can you hear me, sir?
Mike is showing that he's speaking, but she's on Steven. Thank you.
Can anybody hear me?
Do me well. Remain God's pride. Let's go.
We can hear you, but I don't think he can hear you.
Speaking also.
Please help me tell him more, because I don't think I can even hear you talking.
I hope it's not my earpiece. Oh, sorry, it's my earpiece.
Okay. Can you hear me now, sir?
Absolutely. Loud and clear.
Okay. So, I mean, we just really want to say thank you, because, I mean, we can't even begin to quantify what we have learned. We learned so much, and we definitely know that we did not pay for this because we want to pay for it. I think it's all even our bank accounts. But we just really want to appreciate it, and we really want to thank you. I mean, you've been with Assad since Assad was formed. I mean, Dario always keeps saying that you were the only person that really, trusted in what he wanted to do, and you've been here all along. And we thank you and just pray that God grants you all your heart desires. And I'm sure that we've all learned something, and I really hope that you've not just learned, but I mean, you're going to implement this. Aramide, are you still here? Aramide is still here, Aramide,
Yeah,
are you here? So you see that there's a lot that the listeners, I mean, Aramide is the head of listeners, sir. So there's a lot that the listeners
That's
have.
my boss. Aramide,
our boss. So there's a lot that the listeners have to do, and all. So I mean, you guys would send you a feedback form. So are you saying that we're going to have another one tomorrow? So that, I mean,
I would have wished we had tomorrow, but my tomorrow is packed. So we need to all agree on a time next week, where I can do maybe about 2 hours. I just want to, so I want to put them through childhood trauma, just the basics,
Okay.
And also some of the spectrum of mental health issues that people who are likely to come for sessions will have,
Okay, sir.
the symptoms and all of that. Just, crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Okay, sir. So I'm guessing maybe we would have the agreement. Aziz, are you here? Sorry. Akerele, are you here? Yes. Akerele, can you hear me? Okay, I think you can.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So what we will do is maybe we'll just have a group. We'll just have a group. We'll form a group for everybody here, and then we'll have that discussion. And we'll let you know, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. So thank you very, very much, sir. Everybody, can we unmute our mics and say thank you with our voice. Like, let every one of us say thank you to Mr.
I want
Tunji.
to blush.
Let's say
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tunji.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tunji.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, sir. So I'll get back to you on the date and the other one, sir. I'll get back to you on this, sir.
Okay. Just want to take I'll look at how I'm going to send the stuffs to us.
Okay, sir.
So that everyone, just want to take a picture of this. So that everyone can still go back, because it's a lot that I've said, and it's important that everyone goes back to learn and relearn and unlearn process.
Okay, sir.
A pleasure.
Okay, that's fine, sir.
All right. Okay. I think I got this better this way. Let me take this. Yeah, this is good.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Okay. Bye-bye, sir. Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, sir. You too, sir.
All right, bye, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Have a